I'm gonna do my speech. Men, I want you all to remember this. No bastard ever won the war by dying for his country. You win it by making the other poor dumb bastard die for his country. I know that you all heard this, that America does not want to fight. That is a lot of bullshit. Americans traditionally love to fight. Real Americans love the sting and clash of battle. As kids, you admire the best athletes, the best runners, the best soccer players, the best quarterbacks. Americans love winners, and cannot tolerate a loser. That is why Americans always play to win, and that is why we have never and will never lose a war. I pity those poor bastards, I really do. Because not only are we going to shoot them and kill them, we are going to rip out their guts and use their guts to grease our tank treads. After this war, you can say one thing and you can thank God for it. 30 years from now, when you're sitting by the fireside with your grandson sitting on your knee, and he asks you this, what did you do during the Great World War II? You won't have to say this, your granddaddy shoveled shit in Louisiana. No, you can look him straight in the eye and say this, you rode with the great Third Army and a son of a bitch, George Patton. I'll be proud to lead you great guys into battle anytime, anywhere. That's all. Ben was a great American World War II general. He was known, he always led from the front with his tanks. He fought as fast and as ferocious as possible, and he instilled discipline among his men, and he had many, many victories. He was a four-star general, as the Army likes to call it, a general. He had the Service Cross, the medal, the Service Medal, the Purple Heart, 2 Silver Stars, and the Bronze Star. I do not know what this one is, but it's a medal that I got. Yeah. Right before the North African campaign, Patton was assigned to 2nd Corps after their crushing defeat at Catherine Pass. You notice this, that there was a huge discipline and morale issue. You knew this, that morale followed discipline, because if it looks professional, it'll make you feel a lot better that you're in it. So he decided to do this, make every man dress in full Army gear and full Army uniform, which basically means your helmet and an Army uniform or Army issued clothing. So no civilian clothes on base. And then battle by battle, he started beating Erwin Rommel out of Africa and defeated his Africa Corps. Yes, and during the planning of the invasion of Sicily, Patton and English Field Marshal Erwin Montgomery had the informal race to see if he could get to the Sicilian town of Messina first. Patton had the longest and the toughest road possible, and he got there first. But that did have a controversial moment where he was visiting a field hospital in Sicily and to visit his wounded men to see how they were doing, because he had a soft spot for that. But he noticed this, that there was a guy and there was no physical injury but battle fatigue, which is basically PTSD. And he slapped him, verbally harassed him, and called him many, many, many other bad names. He later apologized, but his superiors did not exclude him from leading men in the Normandy invasions, or D-Day. But they did know this, that the Germans had a fear and respect of Patton, so they decided to use him as a decoy to land anywhere else in France but Normandy. After D-Day,
Patton had control of the Third Army, and he led that straight to Europe. But he went so fast that he did not have a good supply route, so he oftentimes had to steal from other army units, and he kept on going. And during the Battle of the Bulge, there was this group of the 101st Airborne that was trapped in the town of Bastogne. Patton pulled off a tactical feat and turned the Third Army 90 degrees and straight to the Bulge to rescue the men of the 101st Airborne. On December 26, 1944, he successfully rescued them and kept going straight through Europe until he reached his borders of operation in Czechoslovakia, or the border of Czechoslovakia, I might say. And Patton had tried to do a political career in the small province that he had, but that did not work because he didn't do what the American Army said, and he was not a good politician because he was ferocious, he did not have tact, and he did not have many other things that politicians had. And after an unsuccessful political career, Patton got into a car crash December 9, 1945, and it was a big one because he had spine injury, heart injury, and head injury, and many other injuries. So he died in Heidelberg Hospital in Germany on December 21st, 1945. He was buried in Luxembourg American Memorial. And after his death, he influenced the tactics of many other generals to fight other wars, and he also had a movie named after him called Patton. It starred George C. Scott, and it's called a classic, but that's up for you to decide. That's right. Class has worked. That's all. The class is yours. Okay, now you can clap.